Hello, everyone. I would welcome you all for today's webinar. And thank you for joining us today. My name is Shweta Jain, and our topic today is all about Bitcoin, and our speaker is Mr. Sai Purna. Hello, sir.
Hello, Shweta.
Yeah.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you,
I
sir,
see
for
there is a good.
joining us today and taking out time for all from your busy schedule for all of us.
I always love to speak about Bitcoin, especially with millennials, the
So,
young generation.
Yeah. Mr. Sai is the founder of Bitcoin Cafe, Sylvan, and the Mosaic Art. And just a little housekeeping before we start. If you guys have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the chat box and we can discuss it in the later part of the presentation. Now, without any further ado, I would request Mr. Sai to take over and guide the students.
Okay, thank you, Shweta. Is my screen very clearly visible to everyone?
Yes.
So this event is just to explain you about Bitcoin, and I have got nothing to kind of financial advice for your investment or to promote Bitcoin as a investment, especially for the students. This is just to understand what Bitcoin is, and this is for the Virgio team of Virgio and all the students here. So Bitcoin will do to banks what email did to the postal industry. I know it's very difficult, very hard to understand that how could Bitcoin can change and replace banks, but it's happening gradually. It's happening, and it takes time. The only thing that is constant is change. We always know that, and nothing happens to you. It happens only because of you. We are the people, especially the young generation, who are bringing change into the society. They always keep asking questions: why this has been a problem? Why this system is can't be changed? So I totally rely heavily on the energy and the strength of the young generation. So this is just I travel a lot. So while I was traveling, I came across in one of the seminars in Bitcoin Cafe about cryptocurrencies. I happened to meet this guy, Tone Weiss, who is supposed to be the former VP of JP Morgan. And I had a chance to sit with him for 45 minutes. And he was the guy to bring me a full conviction about Bitcoin. And after that, I have been trying to promote Bitcoin in India. So that's one of the reason I started my Bitcoin Cafe in south of India, which is in Secunderabad. Before this lockdown, we used to conduct conferences and invite people, especially startups and all, and discuss about cryptocurrencies, blockchains, and we also fund a lot of new startups in this domain. So we are going to cover three main topics today. The first thing is the underlying technology of blockchain and its adoption by Dubai. It's totally about technology and technology on which Bitcoin is based. Okay. And the second thing is that it's very important to understand the history of money. Why the money, how the money came into existence, how our economy where we are living or whatever it may be is started, how it has started. And it's also hard money and easy money, stock to flow ratio, which all is linked to Bitcoin. And then end of the day, end of the webinar will be about Bitcoin. There is lots to talk about. Usually when I start my webinars, it takes more than 1.5 hours, but I have tried to summarize them in a form that we finish it off in 1 hour so that I can take some questions also. So this is a very famous quote that someone see things as they are and keep quiet. I dream things that never were and say, why not? Okay. So if you go back in 2007, Shweta, I think we are having some problem with the Zoom.
Yes, I have
Okay.
solved it.
Okay. So if we go back in 2007, there was no Instagram, Uber, Snapchat, Bitcoin, WhatsApp, iPad, Slack, Tesla, Android, Airbnb. And now if you see, all these technology has become a part of our life. We cannot live without them. And technology is something, it's always progressive, and it's always, when it came to try to solve some problem and give value to our society. So that's how technology trying to play a big role in our life. And similarly is Bitcoin. What is that? Why do we need blockchain? There was something, we have internet, we have all the data from the government, media, business, and NGOs. And there was something which was lacking. And the survey in 2017 had showed that there is a trust factor. We always had a doubt have a doubt how much the data that we are getting, how much to trust on those data, whether the data given by the government, are they true, are they facts, the media, the business, NGOs. So there was trust factor, which is tremendously missing. So blockchain is something is trying to solve this problem of trust. If I explain about blockchain, so now we totally rely upon the banks. Banks, all the transactions that are being done, the ledgers, that is banks that they are maintaining the ledgers, the transactions or investments, everything is maintained by bank. And we have to rely on bank. Bank acts as an intermediate. So sometimes you have seen there has been a lot of crashes, financial crash and scams. So ultimately it's centralized. So all these banks, they maintain a server where all the data is stored, and they take charges from us and we pay them. Yeah. Now we are getting into a blockchain model of decentralized network where we as a common people are contributing to this network. When any transaction happens, we maintain those transactions, those ledgers in the form of blocks, and all these blocks are interlinked, interconnected with other block. Every new block that is created is linked with the previous block. That is why it is called a chain of block, that is called blockchain. Now what happens is we maintain this server. Instead of centralized, instead of bank maintaining all these data, we as a people trying to, these miners, who we call as miners, they are maintaining these data. Okay. So now it has scattered. It is not in one place or one centralized place. So it's been scattered among the miners. So this is one factor where it becomes decentralized. Now all these transactions are immutable in the sense that nobody, a single person can change the data. Yeah. So if somebody tries to make a change in the block 2, for example, so he has to create a new block. And if he tries to tamper the data between block 3 or block 4 anyway, so whole of the system gets disturbed and everybody comes to know. And for doing that, you need big quantum computers to break this blockchain. I'll explain you more about quantum computers, the threats with quantum computers. This is how it's immutable. And then there are no more intermediaries. Now we don't need any banks to maintain our data. Our data is related to our transactions, our investments, our savings, whatever it may be, yeah? Our interest, our insurance. So everything is now decentralized. So this is how blockchain becomes, due to these 3 points, blockchain becomes very strong. At the same time, very reliable and brings that trust factor. Now, we have internet at the moment, which is centralized. So we are going into a decentralized mode of internet. In the sense, if you look at this, the existing network is centralized. Everything comes from a single point. Now we are getting into a distributed network, wherein our internet that we are using is getting upgraded into decentralized network. So in future, you could see that all the companies like Airbnb, Zomato, Uber, they are acting as a centralized intermediaries. So now we'll be getting into decentralized network where you could see that decentralized Facebook, it can happen in the future, or Zomato or Uber. So that's what is actually happening. So there's a big scope of things to happen. And you as a young generation, I think you have got immense potential lying ahead in front of you. You could see that this industry is going to disrupt so many industries. Right from transportation to supply chain to everywhere. Every industry is going to disrupt due to this blockchain technology. So if I only keep on speaking, that will not bring in a lot of value. And as you being as students, so I got a lot of videos collected, compiled for you. So this is a video wherein we see that Dubai has taken a big leap in adopting blockchain technology in their life and every government department. So this gives us an authentication that blockchain is a strong, powerful technology on which Bitcoin is based.
My journey of understanding this global movement to create more trust, secure our transactions, and create more value started in the city of Dubai. This is where the vision of tomorrow is driving an aggressive strategy of how technology can augment our capabilities. Follow me on this journey as I embark on a quest to find the truth from those who know best where we're headed. In the middle of the Arabian Peninsula, one of the most well-known cities is Dubai, a fast-growing metropolis and the epicenter of change in the Middle East. Dubai has always been synonymous with progress, challenging the status quo, and dreaming big. The government of Dubai, with its vision of tomorrow, powered by technology, has embarked on an aggressive plan to enable a blockchain-based government by 2020. The UAE also has a national plan to enable blockchain across all 7 Emirates by the year 2030.
Don't fear from technology. Be smart in how to deal with these technologies. Doesn't matter if it's a blockchain or big data or any type of technologies, even our smart devices, as long as we know why we are using it. If you don't know how to use them, go and educate yourself. Make sure that you utilize the best of these technologies for your own benefit. We need to be wise enough to understand what these technologies will add value to my life. And for me personally, as long as it will make my life much simpler and much easier, I will go for it.
From manufacturing to logistics, transportation, healthcare, and real estate, every sector, every industry is set to undergo a radical shift in the next few years, potentially because of blockchain. Yet we do not understand blockchain to an extent where we could really be comfortable with it. To date, technology has been a domain of computer programmers, experts, and leaders alone. But just like blockchain promises democratization of technology, we need to break down the barriers to understand blockchain itself. We must find out what blockchain really is.
Yeah, that's about blockchain. So this is why government is adopting blockchain, because it wants there should be no corruption. I think somebody is trying to play with the screen.
I will fix it.
Okay. So the government doesn't want any corruption. So it wants to avoid corruption. So that's why it's getting all their departments into blockchain technology. So wherein the human interference will reduce gradually. Yeah. So now we know that these governments are adopting blockchain because it has got the power and it can really solve some problems and it can bring value to our life. So now after blockchain, it's also important how this whole system started. When we started about exchanges of money and how this money came into existence. So if you go back in 18th century or something like that, so we started with limestone because digging limestone was very difficult, and to cut them into circles in the shape of various different big size, small size was very difficult because it was difficult. That's the reason it considered as a kind of value for exchange. And people who had the more number of limestones were wealthy. But with modernization, there is always greed and temptation in human beings. So people try to come up with new ideas where they can mine more limestones in short period of time when the production can be enhanced, due to which the value of the wealth started reducing. The people who had limestones, who as the store of value, started reducing because of easy supply of limestones and modernization. Then came the African beads. African beads were also considered later after limestone because of this problem. Beads as a natural product, as a kind of exchange value. Yeah. So it's all this value is given by us. People who are considering, the people who are transacting are giving the value to this beads. Yeah. So then beads was also when modernization came and fossils and fuels started, people started using fossils and fuels to like using boats and all. So the supply of beets also accordingly started increasing. Then we shifted to seashells. Yeah. So if you see, the seashells were the natives shell money. It was called native shell money, and it was used as a kind of transaction. Then came the metal coins, gold coins and silver coins. That's how it all started, right? But silver was quite easy to get, and due to the mineral deposits of gold, it was very scarce. And throughout the year, throughout the ancient history, it was always 2% every year that you can extra produce, you can get the supply of gold. So in a way, the gold was always restricted and it was always scarce. So that's why, that's the reason it was used as store of value. So this value is actually given by the people who are paying for it. For example, if I pay, for example, if I sell my house, so how much coins gold coins will I accept? So that's how the value of the currency was established. Even till date, if you see the prisoners in jail, they use cigarettes as their exchange currency because they don't have money, so they change cigarettes as their value for transaction. So this is how gold came into existence as the most secure and most trustable store of value. So then came the gold standard. Now, I'll tell you one more thing. Gold standard is something, when people used to travel from one country to different country and trade with goods, so they had to carry gold to buy or trade to different countries. As we started having modernization, or traveling was becoming more easy for everybody, so we used to trade through gold. Then came in Bretton Woods conference in US, and they stated that all the gold will be from the central banks will be pledged with US government, US central bank, and in return they will issue currencies, that is dollar, and these dollars will be used as store of value by different central banks in different countries. Yeah, so that is why it is called gold standard. And China, Africa, and India were the last ones to get into gold standard. They always wanted that their metal money to be the standard of transaction, and same like Africans, they always wanted beads because they thought that's the beads is the wealth that they have collected, so they did not want to let it go. So they were like a bit hesitant and had a lot of barriers in entering into this gold standard. Same with China. Even Africa and India, China was the last to get into gold standard because they realized gold is the only thing which is scarce and which can bring in, which can control inflation and which can bring in wealth creation. Yeah. So this gold standard was there for the time of till 1971. Then what happened? Africa, because there was one problem with this gold standard. We cannot monitor because the amount of dollars they have got in each central bank, for example, Germany or India or UK, so that a similar amount of the same value of their own currency they can print. But there was nobody to monitor it, how much supply of their currency was there, because end of the day it was human temptation to print more and more of their currency because they wanted to devaluate their currency so that the exporters could get benefit. Yeah, and the price of the goods that they are exporting will become cheaper compared to the rest of the world. So this is what being done, and also it was very difficult for anybody to control or monitor how much dollars is being printed in comparison to the supply of gold in US. So this was, end of the day, it's human problem, yeah, which is very difficult to monitor. So in 1971, France said, we want to go back and we want to send their army to bring the gold back from US, and then Germany followed it. So then 1971, Nixon, the president of the current, president of US, he said, we will not be anymore transacting gold, or gold will not be redeemable with dollars. I would recommend everybody from here to go and see this economicprinciple.org. It's a video, 30 minutes video, because it's very difficult to cover everything. So if you go to this website, you will see a 30-minute video from Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio is a very famous macroeconomist. He always predicted any kind of financial crash. So if you go through this video, you will understand what options does our government have. When can they increase the supply of money? When do they print more money? And how this interest rate keeps on fluctuating? Why did they bring the spending by the governments? Why do they increase spending by the governments? So everything is explained, because then you will see our government actually do not have much options, because it's already been spoiled. If any problem comes over, so we need more government interference to solve that problem, and it's becoming a big mess. So if you go through this economicprinciples.org, you will actually basically understand how this our economy works, and how all governments across the world are trying to solve this problem. If you see, there has been consistently, since when the gold rush or the gold standard was abolished by President Nixon, we have been seeing continuous problems with the economy. Every country is into debt, and every country is into inflation, and there are crashes, financial crash and scams. So this makes us believe that the existing system is not robust. It's not something is going to solve our problem. If you see, we work very hard for our money, and we see that year on year we are having more control on our money by the governments. The governments wants to control our hard-earned money, because if you see that you are limited with how much cash you can withdraw, where are you spending, how much are you spending? So it's end of the day, it's your money, but still the government wants to control your hard-earned money. So this implies that there is some big problem in the system. So now, when we see there is a problem, then we would understand there is a new system is actually required. Yeah, are you guys enjoying?
Yes, sir.
I want all the audience to participate and give me a thumbs up at least.
Yes, sir.
Is everything clear so far?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So now let's come to very important point. You can divide your money into hard money and easy money. What is hard money? As I explained, whenever there is a problem with the production or scarcity with the supply, that becomes a hard money. Yeah, like gold. And easy money, whose supply is easy to increase, and there is a temptation to print more and more money. And this is actually, suppose if I'm saving my all my savings into fiat currency, it is called fiat currency. Fiat currency is the currency that we are using, the dollar or euro or pound or INR. And fiat means, the Italian word means that a currency which is in circulation by force. And who is forcing this? Our governments. For example, I have a 2000 rupee note. So it's the government is saying this is the value of this printed paper, which is 2000, and we keep on circulating it, right? And we believe that it has got the value of 2000. It's completely us that giving the value to that 2000 rupee note printed by our government. So that's why it is called circulation by force, value given to this currency by circulation by force by our governments. What happened when there was demonetization? The next day when you woke up, all that money that was in your savings in cash became rubbish. People were throwing into this drainage. So because there was no value on it, in just one single night, the value vanished. Am I right? This is how it is. So that is called easy money. And hard money is always, which is the production of new units is very difficult to bring in. So in gold also, year on year, it's very difficult to bring more supply of gold. It's the highest, I think it was in 1996 or something, which was around 2.6% of growth of supply of gold. Or else it always maintained a 2% supply of gold every year. Now, as we understand hard money, easy money, now let's understand stock to flow ratio. Stock to flow ratio is always will help you to understand what is hard money and what is easy money. Stock to flow is, stock is what? existing supply, less everything that has been produced in the past, less consumed or destroyed, right? And then flow the extra production that will be made in the next time frame. The ratio between the stock to flow reliable indicator of a good hardness of money, right? So in a way, gold is a good stock to flow ratio. Gold has high stock to flow ratio. Similarly, Bitcoin has got high stock to flow ratio. So if you see the big conviction from all these macroeconomists and big companies getting into Bitcoin is only because they see a high stock to flow ratio. We'll understand further why it is such. So because we all know there is a limited supply of Bitcoin which cannot be changed. And money that is easy to produce is no money at all. Easy money doesn't make any society richer. On the contrary, it makes it poorer by placing all hard-earned money, wealth on a sale in exchange for something easy to produce. Because if we keep our money in INR, we think that today's money that we are keeping, we are accumulating this as a saving. But by next year, due to inflation, due to easy printing of more and more money, the value decreases. You won't be able to get same amount of goods to purchase with the same amount of money. Yeah. So it's in a way, it's losing its value. See all these scams, Lehman Brothers crash, which happened in 2008, right? And PMC Bank, Yes Bank crisis, Nirav Modi scams. These all are the strong proof that our existing system has failed again and again. And we as a common people are struggling. You people are at a very good stage of your life because you are understanding the economics and how to protect your wealth, right? So now when you go further, you will understand that investment is very important. The day when you start your earning, you should be disciplined to keep investing and keep investing wisely. You have to start learning how to protect your wealth, your savings, your earnings, right? So now as we understood how the history has started. So this is a small video about history of money and the journey till date, right? Okay.
Currency started developing 6,000 to 9,000 years ago, some sort of medium of exchange, and people used something of value. Societies around the world, though, started to select gold and silver as their primary currency about 3,000 years ago, and then about 680 BC, they became money when they were minted into coins of equal weights. Governments started creating representative currencies where you deposit your gold and silver, or they have gold and silver in the treasury and they come out with notes that are basically a claim check on the gold. So they're supposed to be as good as gold because you can always convert them into gold.
Throughout history, precious metals were chosen as money, not through government decree, but because of their unique features. Gold is rare, easily recognizable, portable, durable, and divisible. Above all, because gold is difficult to find and labor-intensive to mine, refine, and mint, it has always been perceived as a store of value.
At Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, delegates from 44 allied and associate countries arrived for the opening of the United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference.
In modern history, as World War II was coming to an end, in 1944, the Allied nations met at the small town of Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. Here, they drafted a new financial system, which would stabilize the world's financial system once the war ended. With the United States poised to enter a golden age of prosperity, the U.S. dollar was chosen to be the world's reserve currency.
The Bretton Woods system was created after the Second World War at the Bretton Woods Conference in New Hampshire. And rather than using gold as the means of exchange between countries, as was the case under the old gold standard, the dollar was going to be used. The dollar was chosen because back then it was as good as gold.
Under this new system, the countries of the world would tie their currencies at a fixed rate to the U.S. dollar. And because most of the world's gold was held in U.S. vaults, the U.S. dollar would be backed by gold at a fixed price of $35 per ounce. This created a system where the currencies of the world were effectively backed by gold through the U.S. dollar.
I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets.
The Bretton Woods system lasted for about 25 years, but in August of 1971, President Richard Nixon called for an emergency press conference where he announced foreign countries would no longer be able to convert their US dollar holdings into gold. This surprise move would come to be known as the Nixon shock. With this one announcement, President Nixon effectively created our current monetary system, a system where no currency is backed by gold or anything of value. This is what is known as a fiat currency.
Fiat currency is currency that's backed by nothing except government promises. The word fiat is a Latin word, and it basically means currency that's circulating by force. If people have confidence in that currency, and if there's enough government force, that will enable the currency to circulate for a period of time until people lose confidence in the currency.
Money is a medium of exchange, and the way it has evolved is that it's always something of intrinsic value until the modern age, when the politicians say, well, we don't need anything of intrinsic value anymore. All we need is political decree. We can say this is money, this piece of paper is money. Now money has a new characteristic. But underneath it all, there's this same concept in place that nobody ever seems to challenge, and that is that governments have a right to declare something of no value to be money, and you must accept it. That's really the problem, and it's still the problem today.
Without anything tangible backing the currencies we use today, governments around the world have been able to issue unlimited amounts of new currency without restraint. And with the advent of the digital age, currencies around the world are now digits in a global banking database.
But fiat currencies are also digital, right? So the dollar is a digital currency, the euro is a digital currency. They're all just ones and zeros in the banks of the world. So it's not that Bitcoin is digital that makes it unique. It's unique in that it cannot be created out of thin air. So dollars, euros, yen, these can all be created out of thin air by people who have permission to do so, which is generally a central bank. Bitcoin has no ability to create it out of thin air. So it is a scarce digital asset.
So that's the history about money. So tell me, was it shocking to know all this, or everybody, are you aware of all this? Come on, guys, write something.
Interesting.
So this was something shocking for you?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah. So this is the truth, actually. So this easy money is actually manipulating every market, whether it's Bitcoin, crypto market, or whether it's stock market. Every market is being manipulated because there is a flow of easy money. So you might have seen that during this pandemic, there has been a lot of easy supply of US dollars, due to which all these US dollars was going into stock market, due to which the stock market is at a very high now, and which could, people say that it when collapse, and the government is trying to protect it, but I don't know what options do they have. So similarly with Bitcoin market, as long as this easy money supply is there, every market will be manipulated. Yeah. So now we understand that there is some problem with this supply of money in economic system. So let's understand what is cryptocurrencies doing in that case. So now in that case, we know cryptocurrency is a digital financial asset, which is also called as digital currency. And it also provides a method of transferring from peer to peer. Peer to peer in the sense, I can transfer it to my friend, and we don't need a central identity or banks or central banks or any intermediary to authenticate what we are transferring. Yeah. So I can transfer it to anyone and I can purchase anything from him. So it's like peer-to-peer, no middleman is required anymore. Now, all these transactions are at the same time very secure and completely transparent, and parties anywhere in the world can quickly use it. You know, there is there was on the Twitter, there was a very famous, very popular story which was going around that there was a guy who was working in US, and he used to send money to his mother in Mexico, and this lady has to take a bus and go to Western Union and get this money every week. And his son used to transfer $100, yeah, to Mexico through Western Union, and she used to get $60. $40 was Western Union's charges. And then she has to go to this Western Union office to collect this money. Then he downloaded this crypto wallet on her mobile, and he started transferring $100 of Bitcoin to his mother every week. And the charges were only 2 cents, only 2 cents. And she doesn't even have to go to the Western Union bank to get it changed. So that was, in a way, it was so economical, and it is at the same time so fast. Because this transaction used to happen in maybe at the max of half an hour, whereas in Western Union used to take 2 to 3 hours or 3 days, in fact. So we are saving time, we are saving cost, and convenient as well. It is safe, portable, secure, and easy to use. It's very easy to use because as we are getting more digitalized, it's very, and this smartphones are getting popular and getting into rural areas and everywhere. It's getting easier day by day to use Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. Yeah, and it's secure as well. We will have to understand how to secure our cryptocurrencies. It's like, even if you have fiat currencies, people have lost money, people have been pickpocketed. So because of your carelessness. So similarly in cryptocurrencies also, you'll have to understand how to secure them. You can have offline ledger wallets, which you can connect to your laptop or your mobile phone and transfer it to an offline USB port. Yeah, that's how you can secure it. Exchanges have silently acknowledged Bitcoin as a currency or asset. It's been 10 to 12 years now, whereas in April, probably Bitcoin touched $1 trillion economy or industry without any centralized office, without any employees. And at the same time, you can see Bitcoin as exchange of value with dollars in every exchanges. Like if you check on your xe.com or Economic Times, everywhere you will see that Bitcoin has registered itself. Crypto is created by maths, controlled by world, maintained by computers. So now the difference between gold and Bitcoin. Yeah, when we have gold, why do we need Bitcoin in that case, right? So let's see a quite comparison that I have made. When everything is getting digital, then why not currency? Why not your store of value? You can have digital newspaper, digital library, digital music. Similarly, digital gold. And why is it called digital gold? Bitcoin is not a currency for transaction. It's a store of value. Store of value in the sense because it's deflationary. With time, there will be scarcity of Bitcoin, supply of Bitcoin will be scarce. So there is a shortage of Bitcoin. So in a way, it's deflationary. It's not easy to produce Bitcoin, right? That's why it's called deflationary. Forget about the crashes that is happening or volatility or what is the price today, what was the price a few months back. You'll have to store of value. It's like you keep on holding it for a longer duration. That's your investment. And you should be very clear with what is the time duration for which you are investing, whether it's in stocks or whatever it may be. Always maintain your own time duration of your investments. And you are the own boss for your investment rules. Similarly, so Bitcoin is a kind of store of value. Bitcoin actually was struggling a lot. In 2010, somebody bought a pizza with 10,000 Bitcoins. And due to this fluctuations, so the adoption was getting a bit of problem. There were barriers in adoption of Bitcoin because of the volatility of the prices. So then this narration came off for Bitcoin, which is called store of value. Bitcoin will be used as just as a store of value, not as a currency to utilize, to buy or sell or in day-to-day life. So gold is always very difficult to track. You don't know how much gold can be produced, how much gold is actually available on this earth, and how long will it be available, and who is holding how much of gold. So there is this limitation with gold. And suppose if I want to shift my $1 million of gold, if I'm shifting to some other country, so it's very difficult to transport this much of gold from one country to different country. So then we use banks again as a custodian. Banks try to play as a role of custodian to our gold. We all know that. So And all these banks are again controlled by governments. So in that case, in Bitcoin, you become your own bank. You don't need somebody to kind of custody or to hold your investments. And gold also has this limitations of divisibility. Divisibility in the sense, if I want 5 rupees of Bitcoin or 5 rupees of gold or 10 rupees of gold or 100 rupees of gold, it's difficult to break it. Whereas Bitcoin is divisible by 8 decimal points. So this is such a intelligently designed by Satoshi Nakamoto. Satoshi Nakamoto, I think everybody knows that, who has invented Bitcoin, that the supply will be easier for 7 billion people on this earth, or even if it goes to 8 billion people. So that's why these 8 decimal points, each Bitcoin can be broken down into 1 and 8 zeros. So now, as we cannot track gold, right? But we can track Bitcoin in circulation. How much Bitcoin in circulation is 18.5 million. Total Bitcoins ever be produced will be only 21 million, not more than that. And total Bitcoins left to mine is only 2.5 million. In the last Bitcoin estimated to be mined is in the year 2140. By that time, we won't be here, right? So if we, instead of gold, if you are shifting it to Bitcoin, so it's easy to track, it's easy to maintain, and easy to estimate that what is the supply of Bitcoin. And one more thing, all the people who are from the above 40s or above 35 of age still want gold as their store of value. When do we buy gold? When we buy gold, when we have a kind of what should we say? When we don't trust our currencies, our fiat currencies. When you lose trust on your fiat currencies due to inflation, rising prices, that's when you people try to invest in gold. But the millennials, wherever I have been to, I have seen that there has been big and strong conviction for Bitcoin and digital currencies by the millennials. Millennials, they want to invest in Bitcoins. They don't want to invest in gold. Yeah, they want, and if with every 10 years, this generation is to keep on changing, what will happen to gold? There will be, I think, there could be a chance that the demand for gold will reduce, or gold will be only used as a kind of jewelry, and there will be a big adoption of Bitcoin. So this is why people think that Bitcoin will replace gold as a digital gold. That's why it is called digital gold, right? So everything is all right. We know there is a new system, digital currency, cryptocurrencies. We understood the strength of that. But what next? Will all these governments allow cryptocurrencies to be accepted? Will all these new startups working on blockchain, working on cryptocurrencies, will be given a place in any of the countries? So there was a strong barrier. There was a strong rejection from all the governments. They never wanted these cryptocurrencies to flourish because they were losing the power. Governments can control us because of economy, because of information. So there was, and also, of course, there is always bad players involved in new technology. Even there was emails, when email was becoming popular in the very I think in 2000s, 1999 or 2000, internet was only for emails. So what happened? All these criminals were using email as their communication. There was a bomb blast in Jaipur, which was conducted only on email. So then the government came up with the regulations and also cyber laws where they can track emails, and so it become more regulated. So it happens with every technology. The bad actors always want to be the first to use it and use it for their own benefit. So all these countries were trying to prevent blockchain and prevent cryptocurrencies and cryptocurrency startups. Then Malta took a big decision to announce that they are going to welcome all the startups in blockchain and crypto field. And since then, Malta became a pioneer to give a big place with regulations. Yeah. So even in India, from India, also a lot of exchanges, they have shifted to Malta, Estonia, all these countries which support cryptocurrencies. So this is also a very interesting video about how Malta started. By the way, I'll tell you, Malta got its independence in 1964, quite later than us, but still their economy started growing because they have adopted gaming platforms and digital gaming platforms, and then this blockchain and cryptocurrencies.
When the Prime Minister of Malta, a tiny island nation in the Mediterranean, addresses the United Nations, the world rarely stops to listen. But Prime Minister Joseph Muscat's speech in September broke some new ground.
We are currently in exciting technological times. This is why in Malta we have launched ourselves as the blockchain island, by being the first jurisdiction worldwide to regulate this new technology that previously existed in a legal vacuum.
We could tell this is going to be revolutionary. And Malta, because we don't have natural resources, whatever idea, we're ready to listen and grab an opportunity and run with it. But the turning into reality, into implementation in such a short time, small countries like Malta are able to do it. We don't wait for tomorrow, we just try to do it today.
Malta has leapt into the business of hosting crypto conferences. These events, largely supported by the government, attract major crowds. The recent blockchain summit drew almost 4,000 people, a number close to 1% of the total population of the country. In November 2018, Malta became the first country in the world to introduce 360-degree crypto regulation for engineers by engineers. Other laws protect investors by regulating crypto service operators, exchanges, and ICOs. Crypto advocates welcome this, although some point out the irony of a government supporting a currency that is designed to be independent of all governments.
I think it's great. I think it's absolutely fantastic. But in the long run, it's meaningless, and for this simple reason. If we use cryptocurrency for its intended purpose, and if distributed exchanges come along, what does it mean to be crypto-friendly? Who cares? Because whatever legislations you wish to enact or not enact cannot be enforced. So in the short term, that's great. We're getting support from the government. We get some validity, we get exposure, people feel secure in it. But in the long run, we will have control from no one, no government. And all of the welcoming arms in the world mean nothing when you're welcome anyway.
We were invited to a private event hosted by Binance and the President of Malta at San Anton Palace, the President's official residence. We were the only media company that was invited.
So good evening and welcome to San Anton Palace and welcome to Blockchain Island.
How many of you have ever attended a blockchain event at a presidential palace? I think this is the first one in the world. I think Binance got really lucky, and I think as an industry, we got very, very lucky with Malta. Malta came at a time where regulatory clarity was very much needed, and we needed a government to support our industry, and Malta took that lead. So let's give a round of applause to the
It's not just a business. I have come to know that this new technology will be a whole revolution of how humanity will be dealt with. We need to be one human family for each and every one of us to be successful in whatever we are doing. Thank you. Enjoy the evening.
I first came to Malta in January this year. When I met with the regulators here, they were already very, very knowledgeable on the blockchain industry. They understood it completely. Not only the technology, and they also understood the potential impact, both technology-wise, financial-wise, economically. They understood everything. And they already had a draft legislation before I even talked to them. They presented that to us for review and for comments. And I was like, wow, that's fantastic.
Malta's attitude toward crypto and to new technology and business in general is paying off big. Its economy is growing at an unprecedented rate of 6.6%. For the last 3 years, it has been the fastest growing economy in the EU and one of the fastest in the world. Decades of budget deficits finally changed to a surplus 2 years ago.
So that's how all these startups, blockchain related to blockchain and cryptocurrency got a platform actually, got a big support from Malta to begin with. Then a lot of countries like Japan, Switzerland, and then Estonia started following. So why not big countries? Because they have got something to lose. They don't want to lose that dollar as a dominating currency. So like recently El Salvador, you know the history of El Salvador, their own currency was devalued in such a manner that people have dumped their own currencies that has been by circulation by the government, and they have adopted dollars. So dollar was their currency for transaction. So it now, by overprinting of dollars, the government sort of accepting Bitcoin as a kind of legal tender. So the countries which are actually into problems, countries which are struggling with this economy, and countries with who have their currency into problem, like devalued currencies, like Indonesia also, probably will be the first to join this race. And there will be an adoption because it's actually a shock to the whole system, whole society. And it cannot happen that big adoption will come and miracles will happen in one day or a few months or a few weeks. It's going to take time. And I think by 2025, we will see a big change in this industry throughout the world. And it's happening, gradually it's happening. Like a lot of, even with this easy money getting printed, a lot of big companies, big giant companies are trying to protect their wealth that they have accumulated, they have stored in their balance sheet. Yeah. So everybody on this earth is struggling with this economy, and they want something to store their wealth, which is deflationary, right? So why deflationary? So Bitcoin is designed in such a way that every 4 years, the supply of Bitcoin will be reduced to half. In that sense, what does it mean? That people, the miners, will have to put more money, more cost, more energy to produce Bitcoin. Like the cost of production will increase. Like every 10 minutes, one new block was created. Yeah, until 2020. Now, next by 2024, 2022 to 2024, it will be only 6.25 new BTC will be created every 10 minutes. And after 24, that's why I say that there will be a big rush for Bitcoin after 2025, after 2024 halving. So if you see that every 4 years, there will be a shortage of supply of Bitcoin, no matter what, whether China, whether China participates in the mining or not. It doesn't matter with Bitcoin. What it matters is in the network, there will be only 6.25 new BTC for every 10 minutes. And after 2024, it will be again 3 point something, like it will be again half. So these are the big questions that everybody has got related to cryptocurrency. Why the government does not validate cryptos? I would say government, especially governments, want to validate probably, because I have read a lot of articles that governments are wanting to accept blockchain into their system, and they also want to regulate as well in India also. But it's something that this human race has seen is probably bigger than Amazon, Facebook, Google, whatever it may be. So they need some time to understand, to regulate this. And at the same time, they also want to understand, because there has been a lot of scams related to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. People have been fooled because they don't have proper knowledge. So you should, before investing, you should educate yourself. Yeah, educate yourself properly. Do not get into any scams or fake schemes or MLM kind of schemes. Understand it properly. So the government is also taking time, understanding, and they are experimenting how to regulate it. They are gathering data from across the world. This is what is actually happening with India probably, I think. So probably very soon we will be seeing there will be regulation, because so much of investment has been done in India itself, alone in India. So government can't let this go simply like that. Bitcoin is a scam. People have lost their money by investing in Bitcoin. People have lost their money because they have given their investment to somebody else. Instead of learning, people want somebody else to do it. They don't want to put their brain. They don't want to learn. They don't want to study. So that's why they have lost. There is no problem with the technology. All the scams, all the problems is once the Bitcoin is coming out of the blockchain network and it is going to the humans, right? So, you probably might have never heard of a scam or problem or being hacked within the blockchain technology itself. Bitcoin gets hacked easily, and the threat of quantum computer. It's not so easy to hack Bitcoin. There has always been a lot of FUD about quantum computer threat. So to break quantum computer, if any company tries to come up with quantum computer, then everything on this earth will be on stake. Your US intelligence, your banks, everything, your government data, everything will be in threat. So I don't think that it will be possible so quickly that Bitcoin will be hacked through quantum computers. It was made an attempt to hack Bitcoin way back when they made this big quantum computer by IBM, probably, I don't remember. So they made it for 64 qubit. Yeah. But if you go and look on the Google network, the network of Bitcoin is around more than, I think, 1100 qubits of Bitcoin network. So 64 qubit and 1100 qubits, such a big difference. Like fiat is backed by gold, Bitcoin is backed by what? Bitcoin is backed by nothing, right? Because it's a store of value. Gold is backed by nothing. Similarly, Bitcoin is backed by nothing. It's a store of value. It's not a currency. When every government will start having their own digital currency, then what will happen to Bitcoin and its demand? What will happen? Nothing will happen to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is always will be acting as a gold in comparison to the digital currencies supplied or created by all the governments. And it has to happen. You know why? All the governments has to come up with their own digital currency, because we are changing. Printing of money is old school method of currency. It has to change. Yeah, everything is getting digitalized. So gradually, one day or the other, all the governments will get into this digital currency, which is called centralized CBDC, central bank digital currency. Sorry, so it's called CBDCs. So every central bank will have to come with digital currency as we are adopting more and more of technology. Artificial intelligence. So digital currency is the only way forward. There are already so many digital currencies and coins, which leaves an investor very confused. There are approximately 10,000 of cryptocurrencies, and most of them will vanish. Most of them will vanish for sure. Yeah. So when you invest, you'll have to look at the utility of that coin. Like Ethereum is a platform where you can use. You can create dApps, you can create decentralized apps or something like that. Yeah. So it's a platform where you use it as a new kind of internet and you're paying them. So Ethereum has utility. Similarly with a lot of other coins also. So you have to understand whether that coin or token has got utility or not. What will happen if government bans again after investing into Bitcoin? I think it's too late now, because government is working on trying to regulate and so that all the bad actors can be removed, and it's going to happen for sure. And Indian government is too positive with new technology, adoption of technology, and it will give chances for more and more startups to come up into this industry. And unable to understand the right time to get into crypto. So the right time is always buy with your extra money. Don't put all your money into stake. Whatever is extra with you, put that money and make a dollar cost averaging, like every month or every 6 months, or constantly keep on investing. That's it. Bitcoin is used by criminals. Of course, as I say, that these bad actors, these criminals, always want to take advantage as long as it is not regulated. And at the same time, they use BMW, they also use fiat currency, they also use dollars. So it doesn't mean that it's wrong. Bitcoin is expensive. How can we buy? Is it wise to buy now? So as I say, the best thing is dollar cost averaging, and only with your extra money, yeah, which you are ready to lose, because this is a very speculative market, and still there is going to be a lot of volatility. So with easy money, as we discussed, that easy money, so all these big giant companies are trying to protect their cash or savings, which is in dollars, so they are shifting in them to Bitcoin. So there is a list of all these companies that have already invested in cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin especially. So this is MicroStrategy, Tesla. These are the big holdings by Tesla, Ruffer, Galaxy, Stonebridge, Square. Yeah. So what's the proof that digital currency could become an integral part of financial ecosystem? We don't know. Nobody knows the future. Yeah. But at least when the probability is so high, when we understand that it's a hard money and it's kind of deflationary, so it makes sense to take a bit of chance. to invest in. And also, it's not only about Bitcoin. This industry has got so many things to do. It's going to disrupt every industry. So you as a student, as a young generation going into the market, have got so much of potential to understand and make a place for yourself. Whether it's smart contract, understand about smart contract, DeFi, decentralized finance, NFTs. Go and read about all these topics. You will love it because this industry is running in such a fast pace that I think I have never seen such a fast pace, fastest growing industry in the world, industry anywhere, apart from cryptocurrencies. So it has proved, and it's been already 12 years now. In 12 years, it has reached a 1 trillion market cap. And it's, if you see the market capital of gold, which is around 10 to 12 trillion dollars. So if it's in case if the Bitcoin tries to replace gold gradually, not immediately, so Bitcoin has still a long way to go, right? So this guy is Raoul Pal. He's a macroeconomist. He was after the financial crisis that happened in 2008. He was like kind of a bit of restless because he was saying that I've been into this industry for 30 years and I could not see a proper solution to this system that we are part of. And there is always been it is becoming more deadly day by day, and the common people are actually the ones who are suffering. So, and he wanted to create a new system wherein he can protect, and he tried to collect all his friends and from the macro industry to find a new way of rules or new bank or whatever it may be to find a solution to this economic problem. Then he was suggested by one of his friends to study about Bitcoin, and since then he's so fascinated with Bitcoin, and he's been promoting Bitcoin till date.
I'm like, look at these charts. Bitcoin is about to eat the world, right? It looks like it's going to become the super black hole of which it's going to outperform every single asset class on earth. I've never seen this before. Literally, I've never seen it. We've seen gold might be dominant, but you might have bought copper instead, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing, not even most of the Amazon and stuff like that looks like it's going to outperform Bitcoin. Nothing is a reserve asset like Bitcoin. Literally nothing, not even gold. It is truly extraordinary, and it's so innovative, we have no idea where it's going. And when we talk about Bitcoin, we can also look at the other parts of the digital asset ecosystem. That is not going away. The genie is out of the bottle. Ethereum is not going away. Digital assets, tokenization, it's all coming. And it's all going to slot in to these new digital currencies brought by the central banks. So payment systems and rails and everything are going to change massively. Everything we understand, it's going to be as big a revolution of money that the internet was for everything from email to video to shopping to everything to commerce. It just changed the world we live in. That's the size of what this is. And this central bank digital currency is part of that narrative. And it is positive, I think, if you own Bitcoin. It is positive, I think, if you own gold. I think gold has that place for those concerned about the future of Bitcoin, but I will take that risk in Bitcoin. I will say, I think it goes a lot higher before I have to worry about that. And I do think Bitcoin is the cockroach that can't be killed. I think it is something too powerful for even governments to overcome. And I think it is our life raft and our way out. I've been tracking the price of gold against 27 world currencies, and gold does its job extremely well. As more and more money gets printed, the more gold goes up relative to those currencies, and Bitcoin even more so. So there's no avoidance of this for us outside of thinking about something like Bitcoin. Bitcoin and gold offer us a life raft, a way out of this particular conundrum, where every transaction is monitored, where we can be taxed immediately and we have no freedoms. I'm more worried about the debasement of my savings. We all work hard for our money and we don't want to get screwed by the system, and everybody has a feeling we're getting screwed somewhere, whether it's negative interest rates or zero interest rates on our savings, or being forced into the most expensive equities of all time because there's nothing else to buy and our pension funds are doing it right when people are trying to retire. All the craziness of the world right now, it just feels wrong.
And it feels like there is going to be political change and there's going to be massive structural change. So Bitcoin is my answer to that. I own gold and I own a lot more Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin works on a number of levels, and I'm not going to go into it now because there's plenty of pieces from me on why I think Bitcoin is a reserve asset and probably the world's most pristine reserve asset. It's the only hard asset that has a fixed supply that eventually runs out, and demand is increasing. But I think it's going to overtake gold in size. Gold is about 10 or 11 trillion. I think Bitcoin goes much bigger than that over time too. But that's where it's headed, because for this modern digital world, it is the payment system that we all want. But it's also, more importantly, it's the store of value we need. So the central banks are going to compete at payments level. So that's probably the end of stable coins. And I think the central banks will force those out of the system. But Bitcoin as a pristine reserve asset is something different. It's like collateral for a new system, and I think other governments will begin to adopt it. First, it won't be the big governments, but some nation will be sick and tired of currency crisis and will just adopt Bitcoin as its currency. They'll probably first start putting it into their central bank reserves because it's a harder currency, and a game theory plays out. Many people suggest to me, well, the governments are going to ban Bitcoin. The IMF, BIS, they're all going to get together and get rid of this. Well, at 200 billion, they don't care. Tap me on the shoulder when it's at $10 trillion, we'll talk again. So there's plenty of upside to play for before it starts to become something we need to worry about. They probably will give it a go. They've tried to ban gold. Last thing I've checked, it's been working for about 6 millennia as a currency, so it didn't really work, did it? And in this world of a distributed ledger, which is owned by everybody and owned by nobody, there's almost no chance, unless you shut down the internet entirely, to get rid of Bitcoin. It's impossible. It's a cockroach in finance, something you can never kill. And you see, that is its power, and that's what makes it so incredible. That's what makes it such a great reserve asset, and this very hardness of it. So I think they may try, but in a globalized world of regulatory arbitrage, somebody else will adopt it, and somebody will allow you to use it. So keep peeled in this space. It really is going to be life-changing for many of us, and I think it is the chance for the little guy to make his fortune. As I've said, we're at a $200 billion market cap in Bitcoin right now. And as more people come into the space, the more the price goes up, the more the market cap goes up, the more it attracts people. It's going to create a Soros-style reflexive loop of which we've never seen before. That's my view here. Because I know what's coming. They've just allowed custody of Bitcoin. That means it's code word for prime broking for hedge funds. So that's coming. So Paul Tudor Jones was right. Michael Saylor and Square putting it into their treasury. That means more treasurers are coming over time. Slowly but surely, these were the first steps. I don't think there's going to be a giant rush, but I'd be bloody surprised in 5 years' time if Apple, Microsoft and others don't have cash in Bitcoin. Then we've got the coming ETF. It is coming, it will come. We know because we can see the regulators slowly but surely approving everything. And when it comes, when they've cleaned up the kind of bad actors, given all the fines out, got everybody regulated, it's coming. That will bring in the RIA space, the registered investment advisors and the financial advisors. And those guys are going to start piling in for their clients, seeing the portfolio value of this. I think that's incredibly positive.
My large bet is Bitcoin because I have full conviction. Because Bitcoin's dominance as what it is now established. It's clear. It's institutionalized. That's over. So does it matter about the rise of these other things? That they're not in competition with each other, but human behavior is driving that. And I think as a macro guy, it's actually to my advantage, because if you call it shitcoins, I want to know about it. Because I know there's opportunity because you're being dumb. And you're being dumb, not that you might be right, but you've got a closed mind.
Tomorrow is not here yet, and despite that fact, we are actively building the future with our actions. Whether it is blockchain or any other technology, perhaps something that has not even been invented yet, what is the path for us as a race, as humans on this planet, to make this world a better place? It may seem unreasonable, but our ability to question things and create paths to do things differently has always led us to change the status quo. Whether you are someone who is working within an industry or striving to be a professional, whether you are a bystander to this revolution of a technology-driven world or an active participant in creating this change, you cannot avoid being part of this phase through which humanity is currently going through. This is perhaps one of the most incredible times we have ever seen, because the amount of change that has happened over the last 30 years and that potentially will happen in the next 2 decades will redefine us as change makers and dreamers. For now, the dream of changing the world, one town and one city at a time, is slowly becoming a reality through the trailblazing efforts of early adopters who question convention and break stereotypes. This is the right time to join the race, no matter what your pace is. This is the best possible environment to start learning about how the world is changing. This is a unique opportunity to be part of something where all of us can create value together and turn the dream of happiness, fulfillment, and positive change into reality. So say yes to positive change and accept that change is the only constant.
So that's it. So I recommend this book, The Bitcoin Standard, which is one of the best books about Bitcoin. So we'll understand more about cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, economy, everything. So here you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and that's also my social media links. So can I take all the questions now?
Yeah, sure. There are a few of the questions in the chat box. I will call out the names and you can just ask the questions. So the question is from Soham Seal. Is he here? Soham? Okay. So Soham's question is, sir, I have heard that blockchain is distributed system. So is distributed and decentralized the same, or there is some difference?
No, it's the same. Distributed and decentralized is the same. It's not controlled by anyone or any country or in one place. So that's why it's called distributed as well as decentralized.
Okay, thank you. The next question is from Ankit Bansal. He's asking, what is your view on China's move against crypto and why has it happening?
Yeah, China has been always trying to ban Bitcoin. It happened several times before, also in 2017. You know, China is the first country to come up with their own digital currency, and they within I think few months they have established 3,000 ATMs across China, so that people can invest in their digital currency, yuan digital currency, right? And the circulation and acceptance was so fast and they wanted Bitcoin should not be the competition for them. And you know, China is kind of a government which is very greedy, and probably they are ruling with exports throughout the world, and they can come up and say that in some time that we will not accept dollars and we want you to pay in our digital currency. We never know. But whatever has happened, 60% of the mining was being done in China. So now it has shifted to different other countries. Now it is better for Bitcoin in a way, in the long run, because it is really getting distributed. The miners are being scattered to Northern American, Central American, Afghanistan, Kazakhstan. So in a way, it's good for the industry.
Okay, so the next question is from Srigiri. He is asking, how do I start buying cryptocurrency?
There are so many exchanges like CoinDCX. If you go to your Google and search for top exchanges, crypto exchanges, so you will find CoinDCX, Wajirex, and CoinSwitch, BuyuCoin. These are the exchanges. You'll have to enroll yourself, do your KYC, and whatever the payments mode is given in their app or website, you can invest through it.
The next question is from Tej Pratap. He is asking that what are the trust factors one needs to observe while choosing any particular kind of cryptocurrency?
As a beginner, we should not go by narratives. We need to see the charts and facts and figures. As a beginner, always start with Bitcoin. Yeah, no matter what Elon Musk is tweeting, no matter what some big growth, some of your friends might come and say that I've invested in Shibu and it has given me such big returns. Don't get attracted with those narratives. These are all narratives, and what you'll have to see is we did it's a big kind of webinar wherein we have covered how to study a coin and token. First and foremost, you'll have to see your investment should start with Bitcoin, and then next, if you want to invest in something else, study about it. Go to coinmarket.com, coinmarket.com, and study what are that coin is backed by what kind of team. You'll have to look at that team first, and who are the people who are funding it, and what kind of engineers do they have, what utility does it have, whether is it really solving any problem or not. Like there's an Indian startup called Matic, which is rebranded as Polygon, which is helping Ethereum infrastructure to scale. So there's a reason behind for Matic to invest on. So you're always 60 to 70% should start from Bitcoin, and then we can study the other points gradually and invest. So the best and the safest bet will be always Bitcoin.
The next question is from Tej Pratap again. The Bitcoin price is different in different websites and app. Could you please say where can I know the actual Bitcoin price?
See, it's all about different countries and different exchange rates. Like Wajirex, they have their own coins on their exchanges. Whereas CoinDCX or some of the other exchanges, they are just kind of aggregator and they are connected to some big exchanges out of the country. So they are just acting as a bridge. So there will always be a price difference compared to CoinDCX or Wajirex. This is one of the reasons. And the second thing is it also has to do with the dollar exchange rate in India and Hong Kong or China or wherever it may be. So this is why the difference will be. But when you're trying to go through Indian exchanges, always rely on the prices that is on the Indian exchanges. Don't try to start investing in foreign exchanges because there are no regulations at the moment. So stick to the exchanges that are acting or those are actively available in Indian market. That's the safest way.
The next question is from Mukesh Salve. He is asking, when every corporate and multinational companies create own Bitcoin, then how to exchange Bitcoin and its value in the same ways?
Bitcoin is only one. No other company can or big corporates can create a second Bitcoin. So there is no second thought or second Bitcoin available. There is only going to be one Bitcoin, and these corporates can invest in Bitcoin. Or they can support. There is a called community, a foundation called who are working for Bitcoin improvement. Like there is a problem with Bitcoin. The problem with Bitcoin and Ethereum is like the transaction. You can probably have 5 to 6 transactions in 1 second, whereas we need lakhs of transactions as that option keeps on growing. So that's why we are coming there working on lightning effect on Bitcoin network. So these corporates are funding to make it Bitcoin better and better, and helping them to build a stronger infrastructure for Ethereum or Bitcoin. So there is not going to be a second Bitcoin.
The next question is from Shri. He says that how many Bitcoin are created every day?
So it's not every day. Like in today's, it's 6.25 Bitcoin are created in every 10 minutes, right? Whether China is participating or not. So it doesn't matter for Bitcoin network because it's decentralized. That's what I say. It's decentralized and it's distributed. So even 60% of the mining was done in China. So when these 60% of these Chinese miners got shut down, the supply remained same. The supply was constant. Nothing happened to the supply, nor did it decrease, nor did it increase. So it's always constant, 6.25, what is designed in the beginning of the Bitcoin, that is keeps on going.
And Mukesh again asked that corporate can control the virtual market up and down. What is
Yeah.
the solution for this?
Okay, this will always happen. There are people with big money, and as I said, as long as there is a supply of easy money, even stock markets are manipulated. So every market will get manipulated, and then there are whales, people who have got early adopters of Bitcoin, who have entered into Bitcoin in 2013 or 10 or 11 or 12. So they bought big chunk of Bitcoins. Now they want to manipulate the market. They dump, they buy, they also release FUD. FUD is like fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Like Bitcoin will go to zero, or Bitcoin will be banned everywhere, or something like that. They want to create fear in you because there are no regulations. So that's why they create fear. And when you fear, then people try to sell it and they want to buy it. So this manipulation will always be there. But as an investor, as I say, make your own rules. This is my extra money. This I'm going to invest every month or every week. This will be my extra extra money, which is, even if it gets lost, I'm safe, right? And then create your own time duration. Maintain your own time duration. Would be your 5 years, or could be your 10 years. I would suggest minimum it should be 5 years. And don't look at the ups and downs or daily. Don't have to monitor the prices each and every day. And so in that way, you're maintaining, you made your own rules. This money, this investment is for 5 years or 10 years. And now I'm not going to look at the prices every day. So that's done. Yeah, that's the best way. So in that case, it's a deflationary asset, and gradually, as the adoption will keep grow, the adoption will grow, and the price will also grow. So in 5 to 10 years, there is also a halving into 2024. In that case, there will be less supply of Bitcoin, and there will be a time after 2025. There will be a time there could be a shortage of liquidity of Bitcoin on the exchanges. So till then, keep buying and don't look at this manipulation. Yeah, that is called dollar cost averaging. That's the best way to get into.
The next question is from Sri again. He's asking, is management aware of the tax framework and the implication?
Pardon? Can you come again?
He said that, is management aware of the tax framework and implication?
Which management?
Sri, could you please elaborate on this? I guess there is some network issue, or he might have left. The next question is from Shushti, and she's asking that, sir, you mentioned about the frauds and ban, which is why people will move towards Bitcoin. But isn't there a threat of cyber crimes on Bitcoin?
See, I didn't say that people are moving to Bitcoin because the frauds in banks or scams. That is one reason to prove that existing system has got some loopholes or some problems, which is human driven, or which is human error or temptation. Yeah, due to which something like this is happening. These events are happening, which comes into your notice all of a sudden, and it happens, and it shocks the world. So this is something which is happening again and again and again. Yeah, and then people are moving towards Bitcoin is they want to secure their wealth. They want something deflationary. Cyber crimes, when you invest on Bitcoin, I always recommend don't leave your investments on exchanges. Exchanges are only there to open your wallet, buy your cryptocurrencies, and then shift them to hardware store wallets. If you search on Google, you will find hardware wallets. You will find that like Ledger wallet. These are like USB wallets. USB wallet, connect to your laptop, shift everything, all those investment into all those tokens and coins into your hardware wallet, and disconnect it. So then it's safe. Yeah. So far you might have never heard that any blockchain might have got hacked. So when you are investing in your Bitcoin, when you are buying Bitcoin, it actually stays with the blockchain itself, into the network. But only thing is, there is a key passwords which you have to protect for yourself, and you should not share it with anyone. So you have to understand, there are videos available on YouTube that will explain you how to protect your investments in Bitcoins and all the coins and tokens. So go do your own study before getting or investing into cryptocurrency. It's very important. Just don't go straight away without understanding it.
I guess we are done with all the questions.
Wonderful. So we are on time, I believe.
Yeah. There is one more question, I guess Mukesh has asked. So cryptocurrency is a long-term investment if it is possible that Bitcoin uses its daily use of exchange, which is used in daily use of exchange.
Daily, there is El Salvador. There are videos on El Salvador. We are also doing a webinar sometime. So where we are covering attacks on Bitcoin. How many times earlier, previously, Bitcoin had attacks from different governments like China and corporates. So we are covering that and how Bitcoin came out of it and emerged out of it. So we are covering that as well. So in that way, so daily use, if you go to check on El Salvador, then you will see that people have started using Bitcoin for their exchanges. In El Salvador, you can buy anything, anywhere, whatever you want in your daily use of daily life. But I think it will take some time to Bitcoin becoming coming into your daily use case, because it's due to its volatility and still more the adoption has to come. So it's too early to say anything, and I don't know what will be the future. There are stable coins also there, and there are coins that will be used for which coin will be used for exchanges. It's too early. It all depends upon the regulations that will come forward. The best crypto to buy is always Bitcoin. Next, you can play with a little bit of Ethereum, but understand what is Ethereum, understand what are other coins or tokens are doing.
Yeah, I guess people have liked the session a lot. They are thanking you a lot for such insightful session, sir. So any announcement from your side?
Yes, one of my team guy has already joined, and he has made a list of some lucky winners. How can we convey them? Who are the people that will be getting this Bitcoin Cafe?
You can announce the names.
Ankit, are you there? Ankit?
Yes, so I think, yes, sir, I'm here only.
Yeah. So did you make a list of people?
Yeah, I'm here only. Yeah. I'll can we just share it to Verizo, the list? Is it possible?
Yeah, sure.
Is that possible, Shweta?
Yeah, you can also share it on the screen if you want to share the names, or else you can share the list with me. I will announce it.
Okay, sure. So it's better, I think we will share it with Shweta, and I think we thank everyone for all the questions and their participation. And I'm always happy to speak about Bitcoin, Ethereum, smart contract tokenization. And you guys are lucky you're going through such a good phase in your life. There is so much happening. There is so much to come. Forget about manipulations. Don't look at negativity. Look at what this technology is going to change, where you can make your place for yourself, what role you can play. Only focus on that. It's too early for you to focus on the price transaction variations and all. Yeah, focus on the technology, what changes, what value it brings in. Study more and more. There is so much to study about crypto industry that sometimes if I don't follow my Twitter accounts or articles, so I feel quite lost sometimes. So such an exciting, fast-growing industry. So you at this age have got wonders. You can do wonders, I'm telling you. So take advantage of this time, and all the best. Read more, learn, and earn. The more you learn, the more you will make a place for yourself, for sure. Right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Varshio. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Shweta.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for taking out your such precious time and coming here and addressing all the students.
Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah, we really appreciate you being here.
And I could have made it more interactive, but I know if I because there was so much to cover, so we had limited time, but still it is more than 1 hour now. So you all can go on to my LinkedIn page, like it, and give your feedback there. I would love to see you all there. Right? Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. A small announcement for all the students. Like we conduct such webinars every weekend, and if you want, you can join the group, WhatsApp group, to stay updated. I am sharing the link in the chat box for the WhatsApp group, as well as I'm sharing the link for the very next event, which is on Saturday. It is on data. So I'm sharing it. You guys can go and register yourself over there. And if you want to stay updated, you can join the WhatsApp group as well. Thank you everyone for joining again. We'll see you all next time. Thank you so much, Sai sir.
Thank you, Shweta. Look after yourself. Happy Sunday.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you. Thanks.